Okay. Thanks.
Well, we can't open up until we have a chairman.
Well, I'm gonna substitute for a little while.
That's what I thought.
We'll give it another minute or two.
We can open up with a quorum. We're good with the quorum.
All right. All right. Well, a few people are still trickling in, but it is 6:30. So it's 6:30 p.m., May 8th, 2024, and the Nahant Board of Selectmen meeting is now in session. First, let's welcome the Board of Selectmen's newest member, Selectman Robert Thibault. Rob's already been sworn in by our town clerk, Diane, and we're ready to get to work for the town. Rob, we have a busy year ahead, and Selectman Canty and I look forward to great collaboration.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to a very productive year.
Yeah.
We're expecting great things from you, Mr. Thibault.
I'll try not to disappoint Mr. Canty.
Yeah, we got a busy year ahead, so should be interesting. And normally we begin the Selectmen's meeting with opening comments, but I'm too excited to wait for that. So before we get to opening comments, we have some important business to take care of. This is the moment that I think really all of humanity has been waiting for 2 years, the reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. So Selectman Canty, do we have a motion?
Do I have a motion?
Yes.
No.
I don't really want to make one on my own behalf here, but if you don't,
can I step in?
you absolutely can.
All right, I move to appoint Joshua Antrim as chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? This is your last chance. Hearing and seeing none, roll call vote.
You guys need a motion?
Yes. Yep.
The motion's been made by Rob.
Seconded by Gene.
So roll call vote.
Gene Canty, aye.
Rob Thibault, aye.
Thank you, guys. I guess that makes it official. I'll make a motion. I move to appoint Gene Canty as vice chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
I second
Do we have
that.
a second?
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call vote. Josh Antrim, aye.
Yeah, Rob Thibault, aye.
Are you going to abstain, Gene? I forget whether we. I'll make the next motion as well. I move to appoint Robert Thibault as the recording secretary of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I guess I'll just say thanks again, Rob, for stepping up. Really appreciate it, and I think the town and the Nahant will also appreciate your decision to help out. So thank you very much. Okay, roll call vote.
Gene Canty, aye.
Josh Antrim, aye.
Rob Thibault, present.
Okay, opening comments. Before we get started on some of these opening comments, there's some sad news to share and some good news to share. This past week, Henry Clausen, who was a member of FinCom for 27 years, that's a long time to serve the town, unfortunately has passed away. So we remember Henry and thank him for his contribution to the town. Also, Nahant's renowned sculptor Ray Pisano passed away this week at age 101, and he was working right up until his death, as I understand it. He also served his country in Army's 51st Engineer Combat Battalion during World War II. So we say goodbye to Ray, and
He was one of 5 of our last remaining living veterans of World War II.
yeah, and has some quite notable sculptures in Lynn and Nahant. Most people will recognize the sculpture of the tectonic eclipse, I think it's called, in front of the Nahant Town Library. He also has one at the Valley Road School. Goodbye to Mr. Pisano. And then John Maletti, longtime Nahant resident, fisherman, lobsterman, part of a big family here in Nahant. A lot of relatives, unfortunately, passed away suddenly this Monday, I guess. Excuse me, a week ago Monday. His services were today, so sad news for the Maletti family. On a positive note, Sergeant Mason Schultz has returned home to Nahant after serving 5.5 years in the United States Army. I think Mason is leaving Army full-time service and plans to pursue his higher education. Mason, I see you're on the call. Thank you for your service and welcome back home, and good luck in the future. You're welcome to say anything, add anything if you'd like to unmute yourself, but if not, welcome home.
Thank you for your service. Welcome home.
Likewise.
Thank you, Mason. I'm glad you're back.
Okay, some opening comments here. Strides Along the Tide 5K road race is Saturday, May 11th, 2024. That's this Saturday, beginning at 8:30 a.m. on the Nahant Road in front of Veterans Park. Starts on Castle Road. The race route and more information can be found on the community calendar at nahant.org. Annual town meeting is Saturday, May 18th at 12:30 p.m. at Nahant Town Hall. Tony's going to give us a little update on that later on. There's a couple of hazardous waste collection days coming up on May 18th, August 31st, and October 12th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon at the Lynn DPW. I think that's the one off of the end of Commercial Street in the Linway. Certain fees apply. For a list of accepted material, cost, and more, visit the community calendar on nahant.org for more information. Metal and white goods, TVs, computers, etc. recycling is the last Saturday of each month from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon behind the DPW garage. Resident parking sticker is required. Certain fees may apply. Visit nahant.org for a list of accepted materials. There's a couple spring leaf pickup days left. Monday, May 6th, which is in the past, May 13th and May 20th. Bags must be biodegradable and out on the curb by 7 a.m. No open barrels, roots, balls, or branches. The compost area is open on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. A 2024 resident sticker is required. Visit the Public Works page at nahant.org for a full list of acceptable material. As a reminder, no dogs are allowed on the beaches from May 1st through September 30th, with, of course, the exception of Doggy Beach. Parking stickers, the 2024 resident parking stickers are available for purchase at nahant.org. Stickers are $10 each. All outstanding bills must be paid to the town and a census completed before purchasing. And I do believe that goes up to $20 each on June 1st. So order before midnight tonight. Local
Actually,
TV channel.
we haven't taken that vote, so they'll
Oh.
remain at 10.
Okay, all right. They will be higher next year, so brace yourself. Local TV channel, we're being updated on a regular basis with important updates on our cable channels. Tune into Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 45. Town Hall intern. The Town Hall is seeking 2 college-age individuals for part-time summer internship. Visit the employment opportunities page at nahant.org for full job description. If interested, please send a cover letter and resume to ktaylor@nahant.org. We have some vacant seats that we're hoping to fill soon. The Board of Library Trustees and the Board of Assessors both have open seats. If you're interested, please send a letter of interest to ktaylor@nahant.org. And Nahant Market by the Sea is planned for this summer on Saturdays, June 22nd, July 20th, August 17th, and September 14th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Flash Road Park. This was formerly called Farmers Market, I think. So if you don't recognize the new name, Nahant Market by the Sea. To become a vendor, visit the market page at nahant.org for application. Gene or Rob, do you have any opening comments you'd like to make?
No, I have none.
Josh, if I could just add one last piece to the list you just read. If folks have a boat with a mooring here in town and they happen to be updating their parking stickers, it would be great if they could complete the mooring application at the same time.
That's a great suggestion. And I was thinking we were going to have a motion that selectmen get free wharf storage for life. Is that true?
I think the best you can hope for is possibly a gold sticker for parking, but don't push your luck.
Okay. All right. All right. If there's no additional opening comments, we'll move on to new business. There is an exciting event coming up this Saturday, not this Saturday, on Saturday, July 13th, hosted by the Nahant Tennis at the Nahant Country Club, celebrating the 150th anniversary of the first lawn tennis game in America. I happen to have gone to the International Tennis Hall of Fame in Newport, Rhode Island in February, and saw Nahant's mentioned there as the first site of tennis in America. Highly recommend that as a trip. It's really interesting. So that's on July 13th. The rain date is Sunday, July 14th. It will run from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the morning, there'll be a round robin tournament with players in Victorian dress in wooden brackets. At noon, there will be a luncheon, which features presentations on tennis by Tim Mayotte, who was a former world top 10 player, and by Dan Sears, great-grandson of Dick Sears, the first American tennis champion. After lunch, Tim Mayotte will play an exhibition match with local top junior players. So that should be fun. Spectators and players are welcome. Please go to the website at nahanttennis.org for more information. And along with that, we have a resolution, which I can read. This is a resolution commemorating the first game of tennis in America, played in Nahant at 1874 on the occasion of its 150th anniversary. Whereas in August of 1874, the first lawn tennis court in America was set up on the lawn of Colonel William Appleton's estate on East Point by Dr. James S. Warren Dwight and his cousin Frank R. Sears, whose family were summer residents of Nahant. And whereas the tennis set was provided by William Appleton's son-in-law, Arthur Beebe, who purchased it in London, where box sets for the new game of lawn tennis were first sold after the Wingfield provisional patent for the invention of a portable lawn tennis court was granted on February 23rd, 1874, and whereas the first game of lawn tennis on this court was played by James Dwight and Frederick Sears, the older brother of tennis champion Richard Dudley Dick Sears, in August of 1874, whereas 2 years later, in August of 1876, James Dwight and Frederick Sears held a round-robin tennis tournament for 15 entrants on the same estate in what has been acknowledged as the first lawn tennis tournament in America. And whereas James Dwight was one of the driving forces behind the creation of the U.S. National Lawn Tennis Association and served as its president for 21 years, was instrumental in establishing the first U.S. national championships held in Newport in 1881 and became known as Father of American Tennis. And whereas Dick Sears became the dominant tennis player of his generation, who won 7 U.S. national men's singles championships in Newport from 1881 to 1887, and the U.S. men's doubles championship for 6 straight years, 1882 to 1887, 5 of those with partner James Dwight, which is unmatched to this day. And whereas the Honorable John Winthrop Sears, the grandson of Dick Sears, and Dr. Richard Warren Dwight, the son of James Dwight, participated in the dedication of the commemorative plaque placed on the Old Appleton Estate by Nahant Historical Society on June 30th, 1990, to remember this historic event and to assure its place in our public memory. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Nahant hereby honors and commemorates the 150th anniversary of the first game of lawn tennis in America, played by Dwight and Sears in 1874, and also the first lawn tennis tournament played in America in 1876, making Nahant the birthplace of American tennis. By the Selectmen of the town of Nahant, Massachusetts, on this 8th day of May, 2024. So that was a lot of words, but happy occasion and pretty interesting. Most of you probably have seen the sign up at East Point in what is now the Bazinski's lawn. So anyway, fun event coming up in July. Okay. We will now vote to approve an appointment. Gene, do you have that handy, or would you like me to make that?
I don't have the appointment.
Oh, okay. So I'll take the motion then. I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to appoint Robert Thibault to the Housing Plan Advisory Committee.
Oh, excellent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. So as many people probably know, Mark Conan was the selectman representative of the Housing Plan Advisory Committee. Mark has stepped down, and so Rob will, assuming he is willing, take on that role.
Is he willing?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, good. It's not an easy assignment, but
No.
appreciate you stepping up, Rob, for sure. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote.
Gene Canty, aye.
Rob Thibault, aye.
Josh Amber, aye. We have a few event requests to vote on. Rob, do you want to take this motion?
Yes, certainly, Josh. I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the following event requests. The Nahant Tennis Incorporated Kids Tennis Program at the Flash Road Tennis Courts from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. on May 28th, May 30th, June 4th, June 5th, and June 11th, and from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on June 13th. Also, the Spring Road Basketball League starting May 15th to July 26th on weeknights at the Spring Road Basketball Courts with games at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and 7 p.m. And the Men's Spring Summer Softball League from May 3rd to August 30th on weeknights starting at 5 p.m. at the Lowland Softball Fields.
Seconded. Any discussion?
I do. I have some discussion.
Okay.
I just got a look at this earlier, and I'm looking at the spring road basketball league or pickup. It doesn't really identify what's going to take place here. Tony, you want to take us through this? It's confusing.
It's a basketball league that's actually been, they've been playing down there last summer as well. I think this might be the third year. It's a young man's group of folks who have a few different teams and they play on weeknights. I don't know if they play three games per night, 1 hour each. Maybe they play some nights they play less. But it's a league that's asked for a recreational permit.
And my suspicion is that that's coming from outside. Dan, have you looked at this?
No, I have not seen it.
The reason is, as you read through it, it begs more questions, and I just would like to identify those. There's one, as you go through it, I think it's a Nahant resident that's asking for this. Is this a regular form that we use, Tony?
Yes.
And is asking for this, and it's generally in a simple format. It's a league or a pickup. It's 50 or more participants with the option of having 10 cars parked down there. But where I got caught up in this is it's second page. Public access must be guaranteed at all times to outdoor venues in publicly owned lands. And it doesn't mention any responsibility for lockup at night. Rehearsals require pre-authorization. Is this our language?
I'm trying to find where you're reading that.
It's under the required releases. First bullet.
Public access must be granted at all times to outdoor venues in publicly owned lands. Oftentimes, some of these are going to apply to indoor sites or outdoor sites. I think it's just kind of standard language that is applied to all of these permits.
Yeah,
They have
definitely is. We talk about amplified music and food services and tents and
right,
things that
yeah.
are-
But does
Does
that open this up to anything that they want to do there other than a pickup basketball game?
No, they're not doing anything but their basketball league. We talked to them in the past about parking and making sure that the gate is locked. They're fully aware of those items.
So that's boilerplate. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with them directly.
Right.
Yeah,
If you open up the permit for the softball league, it's going to have the same stuff.
And we got this win. I'm looking at the time frame here. This starts next week, and we're getting it tonight. I would have thought we'd have had an opportunity to look at this. I'm just thinking about this in terms of we've got, we just spent, I don't know, what did we spend on Spring Road? $300,000 or $150,000 or somewhere in that vicinity.
around 100, I think.
That was Flash Road. Spring Road was less.
Okay, so we've got an all brand new court. I want to be sure that the opportunity is there for the kids in town before we allow outside groups to come in. And I guess you call it not a lease, but a contract to play basketball. Hey, nobody loves basketball more than I do.
Yeah.
I,
It is,
I think I think you're gonna have kids from town, kids from out of town. It's kids who grew up either here or in Swampscott that were part of this league. It's or the surrounding area. They were there last year. There was no issue or conflict. It's later in the evening. The court's wide open all day long. And it's only weeknights, so weekends it's wide open as well.
Okay.
and the applicant is a Nahant resident, from, 6 White Way.
Okay.
Any further discussion, Gene? Any other comments?
No.
Tony, a quick question. Have they ever talked to you about the amplification system that they're using down there?
It's like a Bluetooth speaker.
It's impressive.
Impressively annoying, or?
No. I mean, it is loud. It's very loud. I see that your Tony is listed as the person they need to be speaking with about that. I don't know if they've ever talked to you about it, Tony, but it is quite loud. I don't know that we've had any complaints, and I think that's wonderful. I just want you to be aware of it, just in case there's something should come up. It is. I can hear it from Fox Hill Road very clearly.
I think I think I had a conversation with them last year because there were some issues with parking and cleaning up and music might have been a part of it, and locking the gate. And there was, as soon as I had that conversation with them, it seemed to be cleaned up. So I can reiterate the importance of that. They seem to be fully understanding of wanting to make sure that they don't upset anyone by way of using the park. So they're amenable to any of our concerns.
That's good news. I mean, I want this to continue to be successful for everyone. I'm just kind of raising a caution flag here that they may want to keep an eye on that, just to avoid problems further down the road.
All right, I'll relay it.
Tony, is there some way we can eliminate the music? It's not really necessary to a basketball league.
Or maybe we can, see how it goes. I mean, the whole point of having parks is to, for people to enjoy them, but obviously we need to be courteous and respectful of the neighbors and, so.
Yeah, I'll just talk to them and I'll say if we get any complaints, then they risk losing their permit or they are risk losing the ability to have music.
I honestly, I have to say, I do not agree with music. We're allowing this to take place. We're tying up the courts for minimum 3 hours. And it's all about basketball. It's not about having music playing, particularly in a residential community. It just hits me the wrong way. I'm sorry.
Tony, could you talk to them about eliminating or at least keeping the music down to a level that would not be audible beyond the court area?
Yeah, I'll have that discussion with them. I don't think we should have a different rule for them and other recreational uses or events that take place. I think the right way is to explain to them, to be respectful of the neighbors, related to parking, cleanup, sound, and that's part of the permit. So I'll relay that, and if we run into any issues, we'll deal with it that way. I think that's probably the best way to go.
I'm good with that, Tony.
Yeah.
Have we this indemnification agreement, is that boilerplate as well?
Yes.
Is somebody signed off on that? I don't see any signatures.
Uh,
I'd like to see that.
We vote on it tonight. I'm looking for the,
This is, looks like an electronic form, Tony. They're just checking off, I agree, and I agree as far as the indemnification, required releases. Is this an electronic form?
yes.
Okay, so they basically, the person who has petitioned the use of this, we have his name. He's
they do have to provide certificate of insurance.
Yeah, I don't see that attached to this. What's in
Not
your
attached, but it's checked. But I know, I think, for example, on the other event, the Johnson School Tennis Collaboration, I know they had to provide some insurance certification.
right, and I don't see that attached on theirs either.
Mhm.
It's probably in Kristen's documents at the town hall.
Could I, Andrea Googlis, are you able to unmute yourself? Were
Here,
you
Josh.
required to provide insurance certification for the tennis
Yeah.
program?
I was, the form that I was asked to fill out required or had a checkbox for that. So I did get the declaration pages and attach them.
Yeah, so probably Kristen has the same for the basketball, but wasn't included in our
Yeah.
package here. Tony, can you just have Kristen double check that we have those insurance forms and let us know by email tomorrow?
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, and since you're here, Andrea, thanks for working with our enthusiastic principal, Kevin Andrews at the Johnson School. What a great thing for the kids to do after school. As the weather gets nice, they just walk over to Flash Road from the Johnson School and get some tennis lessons from professional instructors. So well, thank you and Kevin for arranging that. We have a
Thank you for,
tennis heavy meeting tonight here, but
that's right. I appreciate it. And thank you for proposing the resolution and reading that long-winded. I'm guessing that maybe Peter wrote that for you.
it was a long one, but
No, we're looking forward to it. And it's a great collaboration. And just to add on to that, the third grade at the school is doing a little bit of a project. So each of the students were asked to put together sort of an artistic view and a little historical view of what tennis in Nahant in 1874 might have been like. So they've been busy going to the library, going to the Historical Society, and I'm looking forward to their presentations.
that's great. Yeah. Is there any other discussion on these three events? Event requests? Hearing and seeing none. Roll call vote.
Rob Tibble, aye.
Gene.
Jim
you gotta vote.
Tanti,
Josh Antrim, aye. And the next item on the agenda is the Housing Advisory and Subcommittee update. Is Michelle Capano on the line to give us an update on that? Michelle is the chair of that committee. You able to give us an update on that, Michelle?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. In terms of where we are in the next steps in the process, we have the document with the planning board and the board of selectmen for their final comments. We're collecting those and we hope to wrap up sometime after May 20th. And then I will be coordinating with the town administrator, the board of selectmen and the planning board on when we will schedule a joint meeting to review the final document and vote to adopt the plan and send it to the state. I want to thank the community because we received a tremendous amount of feedback during the last 18 months of this process. And without the community input in the public process, we would not have this housing production plan. So I appreciate our our citizens that have attended our meetings, who attended the public forum, who participated in this online survey. We really, looked at all of this feedback to help create this plan. So thank you.
Thanks for the update, Michelle. It's not an easy process. There's a lot of opinions about this plan. A lot of work's gone into it, and I think I'm glad to see it moving forward. But recognizing that it is definitely not an easy process. So thanks to you, Michelle, and all the others that have contributed, and as you said, all the citizens that have let their opinions be known and their suggestions and all that. We're all in this together, and we're gonna do the best we can with
Thank
this
you.
plan. Ongoing business. We don't have anything listed here, but I thought Jean, Rob, and Tony, we should mention that we did release the RFP for brokers to see who earns the honor of selling the lots, the Coast Guard housing lots. It was not an easy process. It's, many of us have probably sold houses and we go to a broker and say, okay, you want to sell my house? Sure. What's your commission? Great. And you're done. But with this process, it's a lot more complicated. We have to abide by the procurement requirements and back and forth between lawyers and so on. And, a lot of people had input on this RFP. So it took longer to get out than we had hoped, but it has been released, and all the proposals are due. I believe it's May 28th, the day after Memorial Day. Is that correct, Tony?
The day after Memorial Day, Tuesday.
Yeah, 28th. Yeah. Did you have anything else to add, or?
Once it goes live, any questions from bidders have to go through a process according to procurement law. It has to be submitted to the town, and then those questions and answers are published for all prospective bidders to be aware of. And the reason we have to wait until Monday is because of the goods and services bulletin is published on a bi-weekly basis. So we kind of missed the first one, so we get pushed to Monday's posting.
And then once those proposals are received, it'll be reviewed by a committee of 3 people. Is that right?
Yeah.
To select the winning broker, and then hopefully the first lot will go on sale shortly thereafter.
We're going to work on the RFP documents between now and then for the actual sale of the property. So if we do get a competitive proposal from a brokerage firm, and we want to award a contract to them to join us on this effort, we'll be able to, catch them up to speed really quickly and turn it around quickly. So we'll be working on those documents over the next few weeks with legal counsel.
And just to add to that, we certainly are hoping for competitive proposals. Without saying what that is, to my mind, it's a proposal that is fair and beneficial to the town of Nahant, because this, any commissions or fees paid is, that's taxpayer money. So we want to maximize our benefit for the town throughout this process. I don't know did anyone else have any ongoing business that they wanted to mention while we're here?
Yeah, if I could, and I know it's not on the agenda, but are we going to pick up on hazard mitigation so that we start to develop some plans on how to oversee the any progress we can make with respect to our shoreline?
Yeah, well, we do have an approved
I
hazard
was I
mitigation
was
plan.
about to finish.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chief.
It's okay, but my suggestion would be, I'm bringing it up because I'm thinking that maybe the next meeting or the meeting after or meetings thereafter, we address this and start talking about it, because every other town and city is getting heavily involved in this.
Mhm.
I think we need to have a plan sooner than later. Just
Yeah.
my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I guess I have a couple comments on that. We do have an approved hazard mitigation plan, that was approved about a year ago. But in addition to that, I'm sure you recall that one of the goals we gave Tony this year was to sort of list out, priority projects, many of them related to, coastal resiliency, and kind of, list those in order of priority, roughly what the funding is, that sort of thing. And I think, we need to sort of publicize that. I think it's not
Yes.
as well known. There's probably nothing that, Tony and his crew work on more than that. But it's a little bit behind the scenes, I think, to the average citizen. So, I definitely agree. We need to sort of highlight that, and it's important, I think, for the townspeople too, to sort of set expectations. Like, these we gotta go after first. This is like the next tier down. These are what comes after that. And the reason for that is because, if someone has a problem in their neighborhood, they might think this is the town's biggest problem, but that might not be the case. So I think it's important to inform our residents, and also to sort of let them know where things are and priorities and all that. So definitely
Well,
agree.
if you work yourself from the city of Boston on up to Salisbury and the Hamptons up there, every month or every 2 months or every quarter or yearly, the sea level changes, and it's on a regular and consistent basis. And I think they they need to address this on a regular basis. And I appreciate you stepping in on that and trying to find some consistency with doing this on a more regular basis, publicizing it.
Yeah, so since it's not on tonight's agenda, maybe that's as much detail as we should get into now,
Yes.
but certainly let's make sure we get that on the agenda in the near future, and kind of walk through that and allow ourselves to deliberate in public. But definitely appreciate the suggestion, and thank you for bringing that up, Gene.
Well, again, I know Tony is on this. It's just a matter of putting it out there.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
It's probably a little too early to go too far into detail, but expect an announcement early June of a lot of Massachusetts coastal communities coming together to form a group that's going to be focusing on kind of a group effort to connect with the Commonwealth on ways to improve access to grants and technical assistance related to improving coastal resiliency. And we're going to be a part of that.
Good, that's excellent.
Yeah, great news.
Great
All
question.
right, next is preserving East Point. So to review, I think we talked about this at the last meeting, but to review on April 16th, the judge ruled against Nahant in the summary judgment phase of the eminent domain case. Since then, we've had, I think, 2 executive sessions, and another executive session is following this open session tonight. We, along with our legal counsel, will be discussing matters related to the court's decision and litigation strategy. And as you'll hear at the close of this meeting, because open meeting discussions may have detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, we can't really share more at this time, but we will be discussing our strategy going later on this evening. Town administrators report. Tony?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you see on the list here, Emerald Road, Fox Hill Road, and Lowland Stormwater updates. When it comes to Emerald Road, happy to announce that we are done on Emerald Road. We ended up going back to do extra work on Pond Street. That 4-inch main basically corroded itself down to about a 1-inch main. So it really needed to be replaced. And since we had a contractor for similar work already under contract, we made an amendment to that contract to get that done. So that's going to help with reliability of pressure in that area. We also, Fox Hill Road water work is still ongoing, but Grenice, our contractor, is making significant progress there. They're probably about done, and they've started the Lowland Stormwater project, which we had a neighborhood meeting on Monday night to discuss those improvements in more detail. I believe their estimated project timeline is 3 to 4 weeks, and it's weather dependent. But they are. We've made a lot of progress in the Lowlands area. This construction project is long overdue. When we investigated the stormwater system in that neighborhood, it was almost all of it needed to be completely replaced or enhanced or expanded upon. So we're doing a huge project down there, and excited that we got shovels in the ground after many years of advocating and studying and designing and permitting and whatnot. Town meeting prep. Last Friday morning, I presented to the Village Church community breakfast. Last night, I had a public meeting, a town meeting informational session on Zoom. On Friday, I will have office hours from 10 to noon for one-on-one conversations, if anybody's interested. And I'll be doing the same thing next week when Tuesday night at 6:30, a informational session for town meeting, and Friday office hours from 10 to noon. Thursday night, we have our annual joint meeting with the Finance Committee, the Town Moderator, Town Council, the Chairwoman of the Community Preservation Committee, Town Clerk, and we go through our rehearsal of motions at the Town Hall. So a lot going on. I can't believe town meeting is less than 2 weeks away. As I mentioned in those informational sessions, that this process starts in November, and it involves a lot of employees, but it also involves a lot of volunteers from the Community Preservation Committee, the Finance Committee, any committees that submitted any type of articles or CPC applications, the Planning Board, the Board of Selectmen, the Town Moderator, the Town Clerk. There's so much that goes into getting ready for town meeting. So it's been a long road to this point, but we're ready to go, and hopefully we have some good turnout in these info sessions and good turnout next Saturday.
Great. Anything else, Tony?
No, that's all I have for now.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for all the prep by you and everyone else for town meeting. You know, this is everyone's chance to get out and vote on the future of our town. So please show up at town meeting. Let's see, next up is Gene or Rob, did you have anything else you wanted to add or ask Tony about for updates or anything?
No, Tony, maybe just a quick update on what our schedule looks like for the next 2 weeks. We can, we can do that separately.
Well, as far as like committee meetings and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as I mentioned, so next week, on Tuesday night, the 14th, I'll be doing an informational session. And then on the 16th, we have our joint meeting with the Finance Committee and the moderator and council and town clerk. And then town meeting is the 18th. There may be other committees meeting next week as well. But for as far as
we won't meet as a board until
the 22nd.
22nd.
Yep.
Hey, and if I could, I attended Tony's informational session last night, and anybody that should attend one of those. It's really enlightening, I guess, because everything you think you know, you don't know, and everything you want to know more about, you'll learn. So it's really a plus if anybody out there, there's enough social advertising to get people there. It's well worth your time.
Thank you, Gene.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is Citizens Forum. So if you have anybody that has any questions or comments should try to unmute themselves. Please state your name and address before your comment, and go ahead. Okay, George Mahogan, I see your hand up. Are you able to unmute yourself?
George Mahogan, 64 Lennox Road, Nahant, Mass. One question, or two questions actually, on the Nahant housing production plan. Why isn't the town allowed to vote on this instead of having a committee? Not even the planning board that's planning this all out. It seems like it's Michelle and Tony.
Well, you can.
Letter. And I think that the changes it's going to make to this town, we the people of the Nahant should have a vote on this. And I haven't really heard an explanation of why we can't. I know that Michelle has said it's not mandated by the state. Well, it's not mandated by the state that we can't have one. So I don't understand why we aren't. It's going to change the character of this town for at least my lifetime, if not longer. And I believe the people of this town should have a vote on this. And I don't understand why we don't. And my second question is, what is going on with my right-of-way up at the Little Nahant and Wilson Road corner? Thank you.
Okay, I'll take a stab at the first one, George. So the plan will be voted on by the Board of Selectmen as representatives of the voters of Nahant, and the Planning Board as representatives of voters of Nahant. So that is the approach where that's been selected. And to your second question, I don't know that anything new has happened, but I'd defer to Tony and Dan Scripp on that one, on that particular right away.
I can chime in on both, Josh.
Okay.
With regard to the first question, if the housing production plan results in any sort of zoning changes, yes, town meeting will have a chance to weigh in on that. And I think actually that's the biggest sort of portion of that plan. With regard to the right of ways, no, we're still working on a bunch of other matters, and that has not made any progress over the past 30 days.
When you say working on it, Dan, what do you mean by that? Are we going to court? I don't quite understand this. I've talked to a few people and they told me it's on the assessors map. And if it's on the assessors map, it means it's town-owned property. So I don't
It's
understand what's taking so long.
It's
been
not town
32 years since I've been trying to get this right away squared away. 32 years. So I don't understand. I understand, excuse me, the law and everything moves slowly. But for 32 years, we can't get this squared away. I think that's absurd. And I would like to have the town push more for getting this right away squared away. It seems ludicrous to me for 32 years, we as a town cannot do something on a piece of land that I've been told, and supposedly all you gotta do is look at the assessor's map, and it shows it on the assessor's map that it's town-owned property. We spent money and got lawyers. They said it was town-owned property. So I don't understand the whole holdup. Plus, these people that own that property are now blocking the right of way with cinder blocks, barrels, miscellaneous garbage. That's not right. Something's got to be done, and I can't. I don't know what the word is. I can't. How important that is to me, and the town, that we get this done. It just seems to be so inadequate that this town cannot do this in 32 years.
No,
It's
thanks,
not-
thanks for your comments, George. It is frustrating, I know. In general, you know, I certainly would like to see more progress on the rights of ways. I think that one in particular is more complicated, and it's, I think Dan will tell you that it's more complicated than what you just described. But thanks for the input. And Dan, if you wouldn't mind giving us a 15-20 second snapshot of the legal issue there.
Yes, it's not town-owned property. It is not town-owned property. So any indication that you may have seen that indicates it is wrong. That's the fight we have. And we're going back to deeds from the early 1900s when the Little Nahant Land Company owned the property and then reserved this sort of right of way to its own self, not the town, its own self. So we're fighting over the language of the deeds regarding that aspect of it.
I understand all that, but how long do you expect this to be dragged out? 32 years? Do I have to wait another 32 years before it's finally comes to fruition? What is the holdup? Again, I know everything moves slowly, but that to me is not moving at all. 32 years.
George, if I could just jump in for a minute, you know, you've been along with a lot of other people riding that 32-year bus. And in that time frame, I've been on a lot of committees and I've seen this come up and go down, come up, go down, get worked on, not worked on. And I think, honestly, having the same viewpoint you do, I see progress beginning to be made. I see this board, I see this the town administrator. Everybody's working towards getting this resolved now. This is the first real effort I've seen, and I'm just being upfront with you, in the 32 years.
Well, again, it's just time frame. 32
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
How much longer do you think this will take up? It might be an impossible question to answer, but again, frustration on my part is it's not being done as quickly as I think it should be. The town thinks, meaning the people of the town that I talk to, think it should be done by now too. And I just can't fathom it taking that long. Even as the fact that when Tony became town manager, we mentioned all that, and it's been on the books and supposedly been looked at a little bit more now than it has in the last 32 years. How long is this going to take? And again,
I guess
it might
the
be
short answer,
impossible
George, is
question to
that
answer, but it just seems like it's going nowhere. And I'm glad to hear that it's moving forward, but that's all I've been hearing for such a long time. And
You're right.
I wish we could
It-
get to the finish line. That's all.
George, it might go nowhere. And I think, I know that's not what we want. I know that's not what you want, but it might go nowhere.
Well, why would that be?
Because of the legal items that Dan just said. Now, we're doing everything we can to try to overcome that. It's gonna take time, and there's really no way to put a timeline on it. We're just gonna keep pushing, keep trying to figure out a way to make it work. But I think the fact that
Well-
it's, the deed doesn't, what Dan just said is a very large legal hurdle that we have to overcome.
Well, last when you were talking, there was a discussion about the width of the right of way. Can't we just put a 5-foot right of way down there and let the law take its time to figure out who owns the other 5 feet? At least get a 5-foot right of way down there, better than nothing, because that's what I was told before, that they complain, they're claiming that they own 5 more feet of the right of way than the 10-foot slice that goes down there for the storm drain. So
Yeah,
if
the
that's the
problem-
case,
the
if we own 5
5 foot-
feet of it, why
the
can't we make a
5 feet-
5-foot right away?
Yeah, the problem is the 5 feet that we believe we have right to, not the part that is easily, what's the word?
Accessible.
Accessible.
Well, again,
Okay.
I've been up and down that right away for many, 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 many years. And
Yeah.
if you
Maybe we can focus.
Hey, George, we gotta let some other people talk.
Okay,
But we definitely understand your concern and share your concern, and we'll give you some updates when we can, I guess. But
Okay.
let's give someone else a chance. Thanks, Tom.
yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that wants to unmute themselves and has comment or question? Tony, is there anything in the chat?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay, I guess that's it for the public session. Gina or Rob, do you want to make the next motion to adjourn into executive session?
Bob, go ahead. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, yep, all right. I move the Board of Selectmen adjourn to executive session pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. Northeastern University Marine Science Center, 430 Nahant Road, Nahant, and to discuss pending litigation strategy regarding the town of Nahant versus 3 Coast Guard housing tenants. And
Well, I can declare that way after you finish. If
Okay.
the chair declares.
if the chair declares that an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the negotiating body, and we will not return to open meeting.
And the chair does declare that open meeting will have detrimental effect on the negotiating body.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call vote.
Gene Canty, aye.
Rob Tibble, aye.
Josh Antrim, aye. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.